Hey everyone, welcome to this week's Newcastle update. Remember, I bring you these every single Thursday, so do subscribe for more. Today, I'm going to cover some takeover talk, some transfer rumours, and then I'll finish with a match preview ahead of the West Brom game. So enjoy this video and let's get to it. So let's start with the latest on the takeover, and I have to say that I deliberately avoid covering this topic too often just because I'm still pretty drained actually from the journey we've been on as fans this year regarding the takeover. I almost feel numb to it because I've just resigned to the fact that it's not happening. I have no expectations anymore, and I mean there seems to be new developments and rumours flying around every day. I can't believe months on we're still talking about it, but today, it seemed right to cover a little update as there has been a lot of buzz around it this week in particular. So in a nutshell, the Saudi-backed takeover is not over. Mike Ashley has launched legal action against the Premier League over the terms of its owners and directors test, and as we've seen, he's released several statements confirming his commitment to the £300 million deal, and the club have actually confirmed that the saga is now entering the next stage, the arbitration proceedings against the Premier League. The evidence that Mike Ashley's team have gathered and are presenting is to prove that the Newcastle takeover was treated differently to others, like for example the Man City takeover and also Wolves when they got their new Chinese overs passing the test in 2016. In addition to Mike Ashley's battle with the Premier League, there is ongoing pressure from the Newcastle United Supporters Consortium as well, and they are essentially pushing for transparency with the help of fans and local MPs too. I think what makes the case even more complex is the recent revelations of government involvement in the takeover block. So Richard Masters has maintained that throughout the owners and directors test, there had been absolutely no contact with anyone in the government. However, after some investigating by the Chronicle actually, it appears that the Premier League had indeed requested a meeting with the government to make sure that they were both on the same page in terms of the deal. Now, these details were released as a result of a Freedom of Information request by the Chronicle. So, all in all, I think what's keeping me quite engrossed in the updates is the fact that the legal action by Mike Ashley is not for compensation. He's still very much a willing seller, and the objective is to still get the deal pushed through because the Saudi-led consortium reportedly remain very keen to buy the club. So that's pretty much where it's at now. How do you guys feel about it? I mean, how hopeful are you that this could end in Mike Ashley being able to sell up? Like I said, I really have no expectations at this point, but I am intrigued by the seriousness of the legal proceedings over the recent weeks. There's obviously a lot going on behind the scenes, so for now we're just going to have to make what we will from the public updates, I guess. So let's move on to some transfer talk. Now, the January transfer window is just around the corner actually, and last week I did talk about some of the players that the scouting team have been linked with, like Brandon Williams and Chelsea's Tomori, and also the possibility of Ivan Toney returning. And this week there have been some new names that have done the rounds, like I heard about Sam Cosgrove from the Scottish Premier League, and Man United centre-back Phil Jones, and also Jetro Willems once again. I was quite disappointed to see amongst all of the Toon transfer talk this week, there are no rumours around midfielders on our radar. That does concern me. I think our transfer activity should prioritise a goal-scoring central midfielder. Strengthening the team in this way could just give us the extra edge. I mean, inconsistent displays aside. And like I said last week, a backup striker would be fantastic, although backup being the key word here, we're obviously relying on Callum Wilson and hoping that he doesn't get injured. Otherwise, we have Joel Linton, who looked promising against Crystal Palace, but I mean, he isn't dependable. Then there's Dwight Gale, who is almost fully fit, and Andy Carroll, who can come on in the dying moments of the game and shake up opposition defence at most. Bearing that in mind, I don't think we're going to splash out on a player who's happy to sit on the sidelines. It's more likely going to be a loan move. So this week there have been reports that the Newcastle scouts are monitoring Aberdeen striker Sam Cosgrove, and his fee is rumoured to be around £2 million, which is not bad at all actually, considering he's got an impressive goal scoring record. Do I see this happening? I'm not so sure. Firstly, we have Dwight Gale until the summer. His contract isn't up until June, and if we were looking to replace him, we'd wait until then. Also, is it likely that Cosgrove would accept a deal in which he's not guaranteed first team football? It's unlikely. He scored 23 times last season, and let's face it, unless something disastrous happens to Callum Wilson, I don't see us leaving Wilson out of the starting lineup. Anyways, let's move on to Phil Jones. Now, this rumour, it's been cleared up in the past 24 hours. So apparently Leicester and West Ham are also keen on him. In terms of our link with him, this week Man United commented that there's nothing to report and that Jones is still working on his fitness. I think with 3.5 years left on his contract, he's 28 years old. He hasn't played football in almost a year. I was surprised to hear that we'd been linked with him again. Yes, we must improve our defence. Carl Darlow's conceded shots are the highest in the league. But is Phil Jones the answer to this area? No. Like I said last week, we do have an ageing squad, particularly our back line, who are plagued with injuries, and a lot of them do have contracts expiring in the summer. We need youth, energy, pace. For me, Phil Jones, he's not an appealing option. The last transfer rumour for today is Jetro Willems. So we've been dangled the carrot of his return for months now. It feels that way anyway. And his loan with us was obviously cut short earlier this year due to injury, and he's currently in Frankfurt, almost back to full fitness, I believe. And this week it was revealed that Willems has indicated that he won't be re-signing for his club in the Bundesliga in the summer when his contract expires. And if he made his way to us in January, it could be win-win. I feel it's a sensible transfer, and I'm sure his side will be happy to just get him off the wage bill. But I'd like to think we'll be shifting some dead wood before a move like this, with Paul Dummett and then Alan St. Maximin, Jamal Lewis, Ryan Fraser, and even Miggy, all natural on the left. I just don't see how we'd make room for Willems in the current squad without some outgoings. DeAndre Yedlin, he's another example actually, or Florian Lejeune, who's doing all right out on loan in La Liga. If we can generate funds from a sale like that and make room for Jetro Willems, I'd be pretty happy. Okay, let's finish by talking about the West Brom game. Well, we got confirmation yesterday that it's definitely on, despite last week's COVID outbreak at Newcastle United. And we're still unclear actually which players tested positive and are still isolating. But I was relieved to see that Callum Wilson uploaded a photo from training yesterday. So it seems that he's definitely set to start on Saturday against West Brom. Brilliant. I did a full post-match debrief last week on Joel Linton's superb display and how I hope we can build on the positives we saw from the 2-0 victory against Crystal Palace, particularly how we ramped up the pressure in the last 10 minutes of the game. There was more precision, and Callum Wilson and Joel Linton appeared to be bouncing off each other. How does a 2-week break affect our form? We're going to have to see. I guess the positives for us going into this game are obviously that West Brom have won just one of their 11 opening games, and they're second to last in the league standings. So West Brom are definitely going into the clash with immense pressure. Their manager, Slaven Bilic, is understandably under fire. His job is on the line. The players ultimately will be playing with the threat of relegation in their minds. I know we're only approaching Christmas, but it doesn't look good for them. And West Brom actually came away beating Sheffield United 1-0 2 weeks ago, but then they got absolutely thrashed last Sunday by Crystal Palace with a 5-1 defeat. And in that game, their midfield star Matías Pereira, he got sent off. So he'll be missing the game against us. And I'm sure that's a really big blow to them, going without Pereira when they need all the help they can to change their fortunes. And Pereira played a huge role in helping them secure promotion. With the greatest respect, West Brom aren't the most dangerous side to be up against, but with our inconsistencies, I'm not saying it's a guaranteed 3 points, but I do think it's a great opportunity for us to get our first back-to-back victory since June. We'll move up to the top half of the Premier League table, and we'll just head into this chaotic Christmas period with some form, and it will boost the morale of the team, who I'm sure are pretty apprehensive ahead of the mayhem that comes with the tight Christmas schedule. What result do I predict? Well, I'm rarely this optimistic, but there's something I saw on the pitch between Callum Wilson and Joel Linton in the Crystal Palace game that just excites me so much. So I'm going to go for a 1-0 win to us. What do you guys reckon? Comment below. And that's me pretty much done for this week's Newcastle update. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button and subscribe to help grow my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you lot next time. Bye.